The huge room at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory buzzed with energy as scientists from 23 countries worked side by side. Computer screens covered the walls, showing strange patterns and symbols from the alien message. People spoke in dozens of languages, but they all shared the same goal: to understand what the beings from another world were trying to tell us. Dr. Wei Chen hadn't slept properly in days. Her eyes were red from staring at screens, and she lived on coffee and energy bars. As the head of the computational linguistics team, she felt the weight of humanity on her shoulders. "Look here," she said, pointing to a repeating sequence on her screen. "They're using prime numbers as a foundation. It's a universal language. Math works the same everywhere in the universe." Her colleague, Dr. Okafor from Nigeria, nodded excitedly. "And see how they follow it with these pulses. I think they're teaching us their counting system." The team had already figured out that the aliens were using a base 8 number system instead of our base 10. It made sense. Perhaps they had 8 fingers instead of 10. In another part of the lab, Dr. Rodriguez was analyzing what seemed to be images encoded in the signal. "I think they're showing us their homeworld," he said, as blurry pictures formed on his screen. "These could be continents, oceans, maybe even cities." Every small breakthrough was shared immediately. When young Dr. Patel discovered patterns that matched our periodic table of elements, people actually cheered. The aliens were establishing common ground, showing us they understood the same basic chemistry that we did. Outside the lab, the world waited. News channels ran 24-hour coverage with experts guessing what the message might contain. Would it be a warning, an invitation, or something humans couldn't even imagine? Some people camped outside observatories with signs reading, "Welcome, space friends." Others built bunkers and prepared for the worst. Churches, mosques, and temples were filled with people seeking guidance. Back at the lab, Dr. Chen made the biggest breakthrough yet. These sequences here, they're not just math. They're the beginning of a language. They're teaching us how to talk to them. The team realized the aliens had created a step-by-step guide to understanding their communication. System. First came math and basic physics, things that would be the same everywhere in the universe. Then came simple concepts, perhaps their words for star, planet, and life. "It's like they've done this before," whispered Dr. Yamamoto. "Like they know exactly how to introduce themselves to a new species." As weeks passed, the message revealed more. Diagrams of their solar system, what might be descriptions of their biology, and finally, what Dr. Chen believed was a proposal for ongoing communication. "They want to establish a conversation," she explained to world leaders in an emergency UN session. "They've given us the tools to respond in a way they'll understand." The debate about how to answer divided nations. Some wanted to share everything about human culture and history. Others warned that we should be cautious, revealing little until we knew more about the aliens' intentions. Dr. Chen found herself in the middle of heated arguments between politicians and military leaders. During one particularly tense meeting, she slammed her hand on the table. "While we argue, they're waiting," she said. "These beings reached across the stars to find us. The least we can do is answer them with one voice, humanity's voice." As the team continued deciphering more complex parts of the message, one thing became clear. Whoever sent it wanted peaceful contact. Now humanity just needed to decide what to say back. The huge room at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory buzzed with energy as scientists from 23 countries worked side by side. Computer screens covered the walls, showing strange patterns and symbols from the alien message. People spoke in dozens of languages, but they all shared the same goal: to understand what the beings from another world were trying to tell us. Dr. Wei Chen hadn't slept properly in days. Her eyes were red from staring at screens, and she lived on coffee and energy bars. As the head of the computational linguistics team, she felt the weight of humanity on her shoulders. "Look here," she said, pointing to a repeating sequence on her screen. "They're using prime numbers as a foundation. It's a universal language. Math works the same everywhere in the universe." Her colleague, Dr. Okafor from Nigeria, nodded excitedly. "And see how they follow it with these pulses. I think they're teaching us their counting system. The team had already figured out that the aliens were using a base 8 number system instead of our base 10. It made sense. Perhaps they had 8 fingers instead of 10. In another part of the lab, Dr. Rodriguez was analyzing what seemed to be images encoded in the signal. I think they're showing us their homeworld, he said, as blurry pictures formed on his screen. These could be continents, oceans, maybe even cities. Every small breakthrough was shared immediately. When young Dr. Patel discovered patterns that matched our periodic table of elements, people actually cheered. The aliens were establishing common ground, showing us they understood the same basic chemistry that we did. Outside the lab, the world waited. News channels ran 24-hour coverage with experts guessing what the message might contain. Would it be a warning, an invitation, or something humans couldn't even imagine? Some people camped outside observatories with signs reading, "Welcome, space friends." Others built bunkers and prepared for the worst. Churches, mosques, and temples were filled with people seeking guidance. Back at the lab, Dr. Chen made the biggest breakthrough yet. These sequences here, they're not just math. They're the beginning of a language. They're teaching us how to talk to them. The team realized the aliens had created a step-by-step guide to understanding their communication. System. First came math and basic physics, things that would be the same everywhere in the universe. Then came simple concepts, perhaps their words for star, planet, and life. It's like they've done this before, whispered Dr. Yamamoto. Like they know exactly how to introduce themselves to a new species. As weeks passed, the message revealed more. Diagrams of their solar system, what might be descriptions of their biology, and finally, what Dr. Chen believed was a proposal for ongoing communication. They want to establish a conversation, she explained to world leaders in an emergency UN session. They've given us the tools to respond in a way they'll understand. The debate about how to answer divided nations. Some wanted to share everything about human culture and history. Others warned that we should be cautious, revealing little until we knew more about the aliens' intentions. Dr. Chen found herself in the middle of heated arguments between politicians and military leaders. During one particularly tense meeting, she slammed her hand on the table. "While we argue, they're waiting," she said. "These beings reached across the stars to find us. The least we can do is answer them with one voice, humanity's voice." As the team continued deciphering more complex parts of the message, one thing became clear. Whoever sent it wanted peaceful contact. Now, humanity just needed to decide what to say back. 5 years had passed since humanity sent its message to the stars, and still no answer came. The excitement that once filled the streets had faded into a strange new normal. People went about their daily lives, but the knowledge that we were not alone in the universe had changed everything. Dr. Helena Kovacs stood at the window of her United Nations office in New York, looking up at the afternoon sky. As the first UN Secretary of Extraterrestrial Affairs, she had the strangest job title in human history. Some days it felt like she was waiting for a phone call that might never come. "Any news from the Deep Space Network?" she asked her assistant, who had just entered with coffee. "Nothing yet," he replied. "Same as yesterday and the day before." Eleanor sighed. In the beginning, people had expected an immediate response. They didn't understand that even at the speed of light, communication across the stars took years. A message to Proxima Centauri and back meant at least an 8-year round trip. Patience wasn't just a virtue, it was a necessity. Around the world, society had been transformed by the mere knowledge that intelligent aliens existed. The Pope had issued a statement welcoming all God's children, whatever world they call home. Other religious leaders followed with their own interpretations. Some claimed the aliens were angels, others believed they were demons, and many simply expanded their view of creation to include the stars. Universities now offered degrees in xenobiology and alien linguistics, fields based purely on theory, with no actual aliens to study. Children played with toys of imagined alien creatures, and fashion designers created cosmic-inspired clothing lines. Military alliances had shifted too. Old enemies found common ground in preparing Earth's defenses just in case. The United States and China now conducted joint space exercises, while Russia and Europe collaborated on an early warning system. The aliens had inadvertently created more peace on Earth, at least for now. Elena attended a meeting with military leaders later that day. General Thompson pounded his fist on the table. We need to prepare for the worst. What if they interpreted our message as a challenge? Elena remained calm. If they have the technology to travel between stars, or even just communicate across that distance, they're thousands of years ahead of us technologically. If they wanted to harm us, we wouldn't stand a chance. Our best strategy isn't weapons, it's patience. That evening, Elena visited a small diner where she ate occasionally to feel normal. The owner recognized her from TV, still waiting for those aliens to call back, huh? He asked with a smile. Something like that, she replied. My grandson's obsessed with them, keeps drawing pictures of what he thinks they look like. 6 eyes, tentacles, the works. Eleanor smiled. We might be surprised. They could look more like us than we imagine. Well, I hope they're good tippers. If they ever visit my diner, the man joked. Later that night, Elena watched old movies from before the contact, stories where aliens were always invaders. How narrow our imagination had been, she thought. Now humanity faced something both more wonderful and more terrifying, the unknown. At the university, where she still gave occasional lectures, a student asked her, "What if they never answer? What if they've forgotten about us?" "Then we keep looking. To the stars," she answered. "We keep learning, growing, preparing, and maybe someday we'll be the ones to visit them." As the 6th year of waiting began, Elena started each morning the same way, checking the reports from listening stations around the world, hoping today would be different. The aliens had changed us without even arriving. We had become more united, more forward-thinking, and paradoxically more human in our awareness of not being alone. "We are waiting for you," our message had said. And wait we would for as long as it took. The first sign was just a tiny blip on a screen at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Chile. Dr. Ramirez was halfway through his night shift when he noticed something odd at the very edge of our solar system. The object was moving too fast, and its path bent in ways that asteroids and comets never do. "Computer error," his colleague suggested, sipping cold coffee. "Maybe," Dr. Ramirez said, but ran the numbers again anyway. By morning, 3 other stations had picked up the same anomaly. Within days, telescopes around the world turned toward that distant point of light. It had been exactly 10 years since humanity sent its message to the stars. The news spread quickly, first as scientific whispers, then as government briefings, and finally as breaking news alerts that lit up phones worldwide. Something was entering our solar system, and it wasn't natural. Dr. Elena Kovacs, still serving as UN Secretary of Extraterrestrial Affairs after all these years, rushed from a meeting in Tokyo to New York. She hadn't slept in 36 hours when she faced the emergency session of the Security Council. "We cannot confirm yet that this is related to the signal from Proxima Centauri," she said carefully, though everyone in the room knew what she really thought. "But the object is moving at nearly 1/10 the speed of light, and it's slowing down. Natural objects don't do that." The world held its breath as the visitor crossed the orbit of Neptune, then Uranus. Governments tried to keep people calm, but panic bubbled beneath the surface. Grocery stores emptied. Some families fled cities for remote areas. Others threw welcome to Earth parties. A father in Ohio built a small shelter in his backyard while his children helped paint a large welcome sign on their roof. A grandmother in Kenya stayed up all night telling her grandchildren stories about visitors from beyond the stars. A young couple in Australia got married 3 months early, just in case the world changed forever. If they traveled all this way, just to harm us, they could have done it more easily, Dr. Kovacs reminded people in daily briefings. Their technology is clearly far beyond ours. We need to approach this with openness, not fear. As the object passed Saturn, the new James Webb 2 telescope captured the first clear images. The pictures appeared on every screen on Earth within hours. People stopped in streets, in offices, in schools to stare at them. It was definitely a spacecraft. It had a smooth curved shape unlike anything humans had built, with sections that seemed to rotate independently. It reflected sunlight in strange, shifting colors that hurt the eyes if you looked too long. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It was undeniably alien. "That's not from here," whispered a young boy to his mother as they watched the news in their living room. By the time the ship reached Jupiter, military forces worldwide were on high alert. Fighter pilots slept next to their jets. Missile operators sat ready at their stations. But what defense could Earth possibly mount against beings who could travel between stars? The visitor slowed dramatically as it approached Mars, as if giving humans time to prepare. Scientists estimated it would reach Earth orbit in exactly 1 week. Dr. Kovacs barely left the crisis center, catching sleep on a cot when she absolutely had to. In quieter moments, she found herself thinking about that first night 10 years ago, when she'd spotted a pattern in the noise from distant stars. "Did you ever imagine this?" asked her deputy, finding her alone staring at the latest images. "Every day," she said softly, "and yet I'm still not ready." No one was ready. How could they be? Everything humans had ever known, every history book, every religious text, every scientific theory was about to be tested against a reality that had crossed the stars to find us. In homes and gathering places around the world, people looked up at the night sky, knowing that somewhere up there, something was looking back. The alien ship settled into orbit exactly 100,000 kilometers from Earth, a distance that couldn't be random. It was precise, calculated, a clear sign of intelligence and perhaps a gesture of respect for our space. "They've stopped," announced Dr. Kovacs to the Emergency Council of World Leaders gathered in the United Nations building. The room fell silent, 27 heads of state staring at the live feed from space telescopes. The ship hung against the blackness, its metallic surface catching sunlight in ways that made it shimmer with colors humans had no names for. Outside the UN building, crowds gathered despite the warnings to stay home. Some carried signs with messages of peace in dozens of languages, others knelt in prayer. Police struggled to maintain order as more people arrived hourly, drawn by the need to be with others during humanity's most historic moment. In military bases worldwide, fighter jets sat fueled and ready. Submarine commanders received sealed orders. Satellite weapon systems were armed but not yet targeted. No one knew if these preparations would prove necessary or laughably inadequate. "The ship is sending something," said a technician, breaking the tense silence in the UN control room. "It's a transmission directed at our communication satellites." Dr. Kovacs felt her heart racing as she nodded. "Put it through." teardrop-shaped, craft that moved with impossible grace. Sophia Okonkwo wiped sweaty palms on her jumpsuit. As Earth's cultural attaché, her job was to understand the aliens' intentions and help avoid misunderstandings. With degrees in anthropology, linguistics, and psychology, she was uniquely qualified. But no amount of education could fully prepare anyone for this moment. "Docking sequence initiated," announced Commander Patel, his usually steady voice tight with tension. Everyone remember the protocols. The 7 people on board represented Earth's major regions and areas of expertise. Besides Sophia and the commander, there was Dr. Chen the physicist, Dr. Nwosu the biologist, Lieutenant Tanaka the security officer, Dr. Ivanov the medical officer, and Dr. Garcia the engineer. Each had been chosen from thousands of candidates and trained intensively for this meeting. A soft hum filled the station as the alien craft made contact. Lights flickered briefly, then stabilized. Everyone held their breath as the airlock cycled, and then they were there. 3 beings standing in the doorway, their 3-sided bodies somehow graceful despite being so utterly foreign. Up close, their skin looked like polished obsidian with subtle patterns that shifted as they moved. Those light-absorbing eyes seemed to take in everything at once. Commander Patel stepped forward with the practiced greeting, hands open at his sides in the universal gesture of peace. "Welcome to humanity's home in space. We are honored by your presence." The central alien made a slight movement, perhaps a bow, and spoke in that musical, clicking language. Then came the translated English. "We accept your welcome. We are relieved that our understanding was correct." Sophia noticed something in the alien's tone, a relaxation, a tension released. As the formal introductions continued, her mind worked quickly, connecting dots. Later, during the cultural exchange segment, she asked carefully, "When you first received our message, 'We are waiting for you,' how exactly did you interpret this?" The aliens conferred briefly among themselves, their bodies turning in perfect synchronization. The one who seemed to be their leader answered, "We understood it as what you might call a challenge, a statement that you were aware others might come and that you were prepared for contact, whether peaceful or otherwise." Sophia felt a chill. "And this concerned you? We have encountered 17 intelligent species in our exploration. Those who announce themselves as ready are usually dangerous. Your message was unusual. Most developing worlds send pleas for knowledge, offers of resources, or expressions of fear." The room fell silent as the humans processed this. Their simple 5-word message had been interpreted as a show of strength, even a potential threat. "We debated for 7 of your years whether to respond," continued the alien. "Some argued we should avoid contact. Others were curious about a species that would announce itself with such confidence." Sophia couldn't help but laugh, a sound that made the aliens' bodies ripple in what might have been surprise. "We meant it as a welcome," she explained. "A simple statement that we hoped someone was out there, and we were eagerly waiting to meet them." The alien's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "Truly? Not a warning?" "Not intentionally," Commander Patel joined in. "Though I suppose there's some human truth in your interpretation. We are both welcoming and cautious by nature." The aliens conferred again, their clicking language rapid and musical. When they turned back, the mood in the room had shifted. "This explains much about your behavior since our arrival. We observed your military preparations alongside your welcome messages and found it confusing. Now we understand you are a complex species of contradictions." Sophia smiled. "That might be the most accurate description of humanity I've ever heard." As the meeting continued, the tension eased. The aliens shared images of their home world, a place with 3 moons and vast oceans of something that wasn't quite water. The humans offered music, art, and scientific knowledge. What had begun with a cosmic misunderstanding was becoming something else, the first steps of a relationship between worlds. As forehead as he entered through the airlock. Even set to human-comfortable settings, the dome always felt slightly too warm and humid. After 3 months of daily meetings, he was getting used to it. "Good morning," he called out, knowing the visitors could hear him, even if they weren't visible. "I've brought the cultural materials you requested." One of the aliens emerged from a side chamber. They had names, but they were impossible for human tongues to pronounce. The scientists had been told they could use simple designations, and this, one had accepted Blue because of the subtle blue-shifting patterns in its skin. "Gratitude, Dr. Patel," Blue said, its voice now smoother after weeks of learning English. The translation devices helped, but the aliens were quick learners. The music recordings were most enlightening. Rajiv smiled. Yesterday's exchange had focused on Earth's musical traditions. The aliens had been particularly interested in how music affected human emotions. "Today I've brought examples of our major literary works," he said, setting down a tablet loaded with thousands of books, from ancient epics to modern novels. Blue's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. A gesture Rajiv had learned indicated interest. "Stories reveal much about a species' values and fears. We are eager to study these." A second alien emerged, this one nicknamed Ripple because of its distinctive movement pattern. "We have prepared today's exchange as well." Rajiv tried not to look too eager. Each day the visitors shared small insights into their technology or biology. Never anything too advanced, no faster-than-light travel secrets or weapons, but always fascinating glimpses into their capabilities. Ripple activated a device on its arm, and a 3-dimensional image appeared in the center of the room, a map of what Rajiv recognized as nearby star systems. "These are worlds where other intelligences have emerged," Ripple explained. "What you might call our galactic neighborhood." Rajiv stared in wonder. There were at least 30 highlighted stars within 100 light-years of Earth. "All these have intelligent life?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Had or have," Blue clarified. "Some developed and then destroyed themselves. Others are still evolving. 17 have achieved interstellar communication capabilities." This was new information. Until now, the visitors had been vague about how many other species existed. "And these species, are they all part of your collective?" Rajiv asked. The aliens exchanged looks. A rippling pattern passed between them that humans had learned indicated communication. "Some are members, others are known but not yet ready for full inclusion," Blue explained. "Our visit here is to assess Earth's potential status." Rajiv nodded slowly. "So we're being evaluated?" "All new contacts are assessed," Ripple said matter-of-factly. "Your message, what we interpreted as a warning, marked Earth as either unusually dangerous or unusually sophisticated." "And which do you think we are now?" Rajiv couldn't help asking. Blue made a sound that the humans had learned was something like laughter. "Perhaps neither. Perhaps both. You are unexpected." Outside the dome, life on Earth continued to adjust to the new reality. Stock markets had stabilized after initial panic. Religious leaders issued new interpretations of ancient texts. Children played with alien toys and drew pictures of the visitors for school assignments. But changes were happening beneath the surface too. Nations that had been enemies for generations now worked together on joint contact protocols. Scientists shared research openly that once would have been classified. A new sense of human unity was emerging, fragile but real. In a university classroom thousands of miles away, Dr. Kovacs, who had first detected the alien signal, now taught the first-ever class on interspecies diplomacy. Her students represented over 40 countries. "They're testing us," she explained, "not just our technology or our intelligence, but our character as a species, whether we can overcome our divisions, whether we're ready to join something larger than ourselves." Back in the dome, Rajiv continued the careful dance of cultural exchange. Each day revealed more about the visitors, and each day humanity showed more of itself, both the beautiful and the troubling parts of human nature. "We have a saying on Earth," Rajiv told Blue as they examined Earth's literary classics. "To understand someone, walk a mile in their shoes." Blue's skin rippled with interest, an intriguing metaphor for empathy. "Though we do not wear shoes, we understand the concept. That's what we're doing here, isn't it? Rajiv said. Learning to walk in each other's shoes. Yes, Blue agreed, its three eyes focusing on him. And the path ahead is long indeed. The United Nations General Assembly Hall had never been so full. Every nation had sent their highest representatives. World leaders who normally sent delegates had come in person. The room hummed with tension and excitement as they waited for the final transmission from the visitors who had changed human history forever. Dr. Elena Kovac stood at the side of the stage, her heart pounding. 6 months ago, the alien ship had appeared in Earth's orbit. Now, after countless exchanges, meetings, and careful diplomacy, they were leaving. Whatever they announced today would shape humanity's future for generations. It still doesn't feel real, whispered Dr. Chen, standing beside her, that I've spoken with beings from another star. Elena nodded. 20 years ago, I was just an astronomer hoping to find a simple radio signal. I never imagined... Her words trailed off as the large screen at the front of the hall activated. The familiar triangular face of the alien diplomat appeared, its three eyes scanning the assembled. Leaders of Earth. People of Earth, the alien began, its translated voice filling the hall. We thank you for your hospitality during our assessment visit. The time has come for us to share our decision regarding Earth's relationship with the collective of worlds. The room fell completely silent. Even breathing seemed too loud. In our 1,000 cycles of exploration, we have encountered 42 worlds with intelligent life. Of these, 17 have achieved interstellar communication capability. 9 have destroyed themselves through war or environmental collapse. 5 remain isolated by their own choice. Only 12 currently participate in the collective. Images appeared on screens around the room. Strange worlds with stranger beings, some vaguely humanoid, others utterly alien. Earth presents a unique case. Your technological development is uneven, capable of detecting signals from distant stars, yet still burning fossil fuels. Your societies show both remarkable cooperation and troubling division. You create breathtaking art while threatening your own existence. The alien paused, its skin shifting through patterns that the human diplomats had learned indicated deep thought. Your message, we are waiting for you, first suggested a species with unusual confidence, perhaps even aggression. Our observation has revealed a more complex truth. You are a young species full of contradictions, standing at a crossroads of your own making. Eleanor felt her throat tighten. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the cosmos. The collective has reached a decision, formalized in what we will call the Proxima Protocol, in honor of the star that connected us. Earth will be granted observer status in the collective of worlds. A mixture of gasps and applause filled the room. Observer status, not full membership, but not rejection either. This status provides limited access to collective knowledge and prohibits any military presence beyond your solar system. You will receive transmissions about collective activities and may send observers to certain meetings via communication channels we will establish. The alien's three eyes seem to focus more intensely. Full membership will be contingent upon demonstrated planetary stability and unified governance over the next century of your time. We must see that you have overcome the tendency toward self-destruction that marks adolescent species. The Secretary-General stepped forward. We understand, and if we fail to achieve this stability, then contact will remain limited to observation only. The collective does not interfere with a species' natural development, even if that development leads to collapse. Those words hung heavy in the air. The choice was clear: unite or remain isolated. A monitoring satellite will remain at the edge of your solar system, the alien continued. It will observe but not interfere. When you are ready, if you are ready, it will relay your call. With those words, the transmission ended. Within hours, observers reported the great ship moving away from Earth, accelerating toward the E-stars. That evening, people gathered in homes, in public squares, in places of worship across the planet. They looked up at the night sky with new understanding. They were not alone in the universe, but neither were they yet fully welcomed among the stars. In her apartment, Elena stood at the window, remembering the young astronomer who had first spotted a pattern in the noise from space. how far humanity had come, how far we still had to go. On her desk sat a small gift from the aliens, a crystal that showed different star systems when held to the light, a reminder of what waited if humanity could grow beyond its divisions. "A century," she whispered, "to the stars. We can do this." And somewhere beyond the edges of our solar system, silent and watching, the monitoring satellite began its long vigil, waiting for humanity to prove itself worthy of the stars.